Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dixon Life Coaching's webinar series called Living Well with ADHD. I know how hard it is to carve out time and attention and to show up. So I want to start by thanking you for being here. I'm Casey Dixon. I'm a life coach for high achievers with ADHD, and I'm on a mission to support creative, whip-smart, engaged humans with ADHD to live well. For the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to explore what it means to go from bad to badass as a high achiever with ADHD. Feel free to write any questions you have into the chat at the end. You can put them in now, but it's likely that I might not see them. I can't promise to reply to all the questions, but I'm going to give it a go. So, what is it about the title of this webinar that made you want to join? In other words, what is it about ADHD that makes you feel bad? One reason, of course, is that having ADHD makes life more difficult. It's harder to maintain self-supportive habits, remember things, organize, handle emotions, get stuff done, focus in the moment on important stuff, and pay attention to things like time. Because things are harder, ADHD often means engaging in a lot of negative self-talk, self-scrutiny, and self-shaming around the idea of being bad. People with ADHD often feel separate, alone, or unequal in a world of neurotypical people. We're going to move the slides here. Sorry, it's not working. There we go. Their experiences are different and often misunderstood. Due to this misunderstanding, people with ADHD are exposed to the criticism, judgment, and even well-meaning attempts of others to correct them or teach them using negative messages. It's estimated that in school alone, a child with ADHD could receive 20,000 corrective or negative comments by the time they are 11 years old or 10. With a giant pile of negativity, I mean, just think about that. That's a lot of negative messages. We're taught that we're bad, or at least at the very least, need to be constantly assessing our behavior to be better all the time. This can lead to the drive to be perfect, which can lead to even more feelings of being bad. This can, in turn, lead to a lot of shame. I work with very bright, creative, educated adults who are continually astonished by their own dysregulation. They're constantly worrying about being bad. But having ADHD does not make you bad. In fact, it's not even your fault. It exists in your brain as part of your makeup. That does not mean there's nothing you can do about it, but still, your neurobiology is not your fault. And your teachers, parents, and other adults may have missed your ADHD while you were growing up. Many or even most high achievers with ADHD don't get diagnosed until later in life, and therefore also didn't get the support that they needed when they were younger. Heck, I hear it from clients every day that their current doctors or clinicians tell them they can't possibly have ADHD because they're simply too smart or too successful. So if you haven't figured out how to manage your ADHD perfectly yet, take a breath and know that it's not your fault. The problem with thinking about how your ADHD makes you bad all the time is that it drives you to make your
You muted Casey too, not Jack.
oops. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Jack needs to be muted, and I've got myself.
Okay, you're awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm just going to start that by saying that thinking about your ADHD, how it makes you feel bad all the time, and that drives you to make yourself feel better or at least good. And sometimes trying to be better or good all the time can and often does get in the way of living well with ADHD. So, no, wait a minute. How does trying to be good get in the way of making positive changes? Consider these clients of mine. A professor of social justice who reads the one negative comment among all the positive comments on her teaching evaluations. She feels like she must be a terrible professor and wants to prove to her students that she can give them everything they need. So she spends 15 hours per week meeting with students, mostly ignoring the research she needs to do in order to get her tenure. A lawyer who stays at work to proofread a brief until 11 p.m., missing her kids' games and recitals so she can feel less crappy about her work. A professor who spends 50 to 60 hours writing a syllabus for a class, making sure it's perfected only to submit it a little bit late to the campus online server. A social media director who tells his partner that he'll be home in about 30 minutes, then ends up staying at work for 90 minutes, editing an email to a client. A director of development who takes so long to write each email and reply to the donors that she has now thousands of unread emails in her inbox and is afraid to look at it. Or a systems analyst who takes on the work that her colleagues could do to prove to herself that she's not bad at her job, only to have a huge pile of her own unfinished tasks. Can you relate? And my client, Amanda, whose job is highly demanding, requiring her to work like 11-hour days. And because of her ADHD, she tends to work less efficiently on some things than people without ADHD, right? She goes down research rabbit holes and spends a couple of hours writing a reply email that she thinks should only take 30 minutes. She has trouble finding documents. She can forget what she was thinking and have to start projects over from scratch. She resists using templates for previously developed work and preferring to reinvent the wheel. But because she was working really hard at not being bad, she worked harder. She stayed later. She scrutinized her work more. She said yes to every new request or task in an attempt to please others. She hyper organized, reading online articles about how to manage her time better, organize her house more, tried new systems or tools only to give them up when she ran out of steam. She was spending the little time she had left doing laundry, cleaning, making food, and shuttling kids around because that was the expectation she had of what a good wife and mother does. The laundry was starting to pile up again. Amanda was worn out, overwhelmed, and constantly striving to avoid disappointing others and always wondering why she couldn't be better or at least less bad. Can you relate to Amanda? The problem is that Amanda's approach to living well with ADHD by working harder at not being bad is simply not sustainable. She was trying to build a ship while sailing in the storm. We had to get at least some calmer seas and smoother sailing. Another problem with her approach, and this is a big one, is that Amanda is stunningly creative and deeply caring. She has unique talents to share with the world, but was not showcasing her gifts because she was spending all of her attention and energy on keeping herself together. This was adding insult to injury. Trying to be good all the time is keeping Amanda from being great. A new approach was needed. Amanda had to become more of a badass. Badassery implies the willingness to cause a little trouble, to be rogue, not to be nice or perfect all the time. It also means that the badass is extraordinary in some way, a rebel, an artist, a deep thinker, a jack of all trades, a collector, a disruptor, a powerful speaker, an inspiring teacher, or a radical business owner. Get the idea? A badass knows what's important to them and doesn't worry over much about what is not important. You show up with all of your flaws, and despite your fear, you contribute in your own unique way. It means that you shine. For Amanda, it might mean she's willing to walk into a courtroom, maybe not as prepared as she would want to be, and know that she has something to share that makes a powerful impact. Badasses are brave, they are original, and I would argue that all high achievers with ADHD have a little bit of badass in them, including you. So, how do you know if you're trying too hard not to be bad? You might be over focusing on trivial stuff. Do you spend too much time reinventing the wheel, meaning doing work that's already been done, but you think might not live up to your high standard? Too much time replying to emails, too much on less important work, like rewriting the same sentence 12 times or perfecting a spreadsheet that few people will look at, and not enough time on more important work. An example came up the other day of researching dog beds when there's important work to be done because the pet trainer is coming over later. You might be overworking to prove you're a hard worker. Do you stay later than almost everyone else at the office? Work on the weekends. Commit to roles or tasks on committees, associations, kids' teams, or volunteer boards that you know you do not have the time or energy for. Rewriting, redrafting, resubmitting, recreating, reworking, and starting from scratch. Doing things yourself that others could be doing for you. Or you might be over anticipating how you'll be judged. Do you assume that the person you're emailing will be mad or disappointed or shocked at all the small typos? So you avoid communicating altogether or spend crazy amounts of hours on the email. How about not replying to emails because you don't have the perfect answer right now? Thinking that you're the only person who makes these kinds of mistakes, or trying to be really good at things you aren't naturally good at and don't really care about. Preparing for meetings for hours on end, only to find that preparation was not as necessary as you thought. This is starting to sound a little exhausting, doesn't it? So, how do you go from bad to badass? First, define what you want to be known for. Secondly, practice evaluating how worthwhile something is. And third, give yourself permission to be a little bit bad. So, we're going to talk about defining what you want to be known for. A clear answer to this question will help you to guide your actions, worrying less on simply being not bad. I want to be known for being totally present with very bright adults with ADHD so I can help them navigate life and direct their own actions using coaching. Well, I can do that, and it means that I cannot spend inordinate amounts of energy doing other things that aren't as important or worthwhile. So, what do you want to be known for? You could try writing down 1 or 2 steps you can take to become known for that thing. And also, equally important, or maybe even a little more important if you have ADHD, because we focus on the negatives. What do you not want to be known for? How can you practice giving much less time and attention to those things that you do not want to be known for? People with ADHD can often feel as everything is equally important. It's important to proofread the presentation you're giving tomorrow again, right? Well, yeah. And is it as important as showing up for your daughter's violin recital? I doubt it. Which activity, proofreading or showing up for your daughter's activities, are more worthwhile, both being worthy? Is it worth your precious time, smarts, experience, and energy to you fill in the blanks to that? If the answer is no or not really, try to find a way to do less of that thing or do less of an exceptional job at it. You can also try the gravestone test. I don't want mine to read had typo free PowerPoint slides. Also, if you like data, you could assign 1 for something that's critically worthy, 2 for something that's somewhat worthy, or 3 for something that's slightly or a little bit worthy. You'll notice I didn't ask you to evaluate how important things are to you, because your powerful brain with ADHD can convince you that everything is important. So then we want to give yourself permission to be a little bad by letting go of things that are not in your badass wheelhouse. List 3 things you can let go of, things you're giving yourself permission to do imperfectly. Badasses tend to be a little tiny bit bad, not massively bad. We're going to allow you to make errors, misjudge some things, be late occasionally, be messy sometimes. Do not ruin your life's work, or your life for that matter, because you're not perfect. Give yourself permission to be human, flawed, and not care so much all the time. Now, I'm not saying that you should let things spin out of control here. I'm saying that if you let a little bit of your inner badass shine, you will gain energy and time. And this will allow you to make other changes you've been wanting to make, but can't seem to find the time or energy to do because you're too busy trying not to be bad. In coaching, Amanda worked on going from bad to badass. She stopped worrying so much about how other people would judge her. She stopped working so hard on things that didn't matter. She put boundaries around how much she would work and sacrifice to others. She thought deeply about what she wanted to be known for. It started to highlight the work that was her unique gift. She delegated more and said no more often. She continues to evaluate how worthwhile things are to her and gives herself permission not to be perfect. If she sends her laundry out to a laundry service, does that really make her a bad mother? Amanda likes to call this being human because she was trying so hard previously to just be a machine. So here's the bottom line for Amanda and others like her. Once she made this change in her perspective and energy, she was able to create those critical systems, routines, and habits that she needed to get more done, work more efficiently, satisfy others' requests, log more billable hours, as well as start exercising regularly, eating a little better, and spending more time with her family, having a little tiny bit of time left over to relax. She was healthier, happier, and living her life according to her own values without backing down from being not bad all the time. She would never have found the energy or focus to implement these other changes that people with ADHD seek. So, what would you do with more time or energy? ADHD management is really about energy management. If you're over focusing, overworking, and over anticipating, you're spending too much precious energy trying to be less bad. Going from bad to badass might just give you the energy you need to free yourself from this cycle and lead to better and better things. So, as you go about the rest of your day or evening, see if you can hold on to the mindset that you have at this moment, one that allows you to focus on how you shine your badass self. Now, if you're interested in getting more badassery and other ways of living well with ADHD, you can find it in our Live Well ADHD course. This hybrid course will teach you how to live well with ADHD, combining the live group workshop to accelerate your learning, online coursework, your personal workbook, and weekly accountability calls. Very important. You can drop in and talk to a live coach up to 3 times per week. Going from bad to badass is in Module 1, Lesson 5. With Live Well ADHD, you'll get 6 weeks of live training. And if you want more and want to go deeper, you're invited to one of our group coaching programs. I'm mentioning this, they run for 3 months because you can find one for lawyers called the Focus Lawyer, one for professors called the Focus Professor, and for all of the other amazingly interesting professions that are represented in this group today, there's one called Performance Powerhouse. If you want to learn more about that, I think Christine's going to slap that link in the chat, or you can go to Dixon Life Coaching and click on group coaching. I'm really mentioning that today because they start in 2 weeks on March 11th, that week of March 11th, which is coming right up. Or you can grab, and this is a free resource for you, a free resource. It's an ebook called How to Go from Bad to Badass with ADHD, which is basically what this talk was developed around. And it has some worksheets in there based on what we talked about today. Here is the link for that, and we'll put that in the chat. If you have a burning question that we didn't get to today, feel free to email us at info@dixonlifecoaching.com, and we will do our best to respond. And I want to nod to some of the references I used for this webinar content, and there are just 2 references this time. So we have about 10 minutes for questions. I want to remind you that this is being recorded and will be posted on our website and YouTube channel. So please only post your questions if you feel comfortable having it included in our recording. You want to put them in the chat, and I'm going to try my best to reply in the short amount of time that we have left. So I'm going to stop sharing. And we will get to the chat if I can figure out how to do that. There it is. Okay, so there are a bunch of links in there. Link to the Focus Lawyer, Focus Professor, Performance Powerhouse, Live Well ADHD. That's where this is in the lesson, and also the free ebook. Did we find any questions? I see Kat said she deaf can relate. I love that. Melanie's got some comments. One new message. Let's get. Yeah, can oh, that's so sweet. Um, I speak so calmly, and thank you for that. It is possible. And I think one of the things that I have the amazing privilege to witness that you as an adult with ADHD might not is that I've been coaching high achievers with ADHD for almost 19 years now, which kind of shocks me when I say that out loud. But the beautiful thing that I have witnessed is I get sort of this amazing bird's eye view of the whole process for many, many people over time. And I know that it is possible, right? We can't say, oh, poof, your ADHD is gone. I can't take it away. But through coaching or other treatment protocols, people with ADHD can make this possible. I've seen it time and time again, and you'll get more energy and more focus and start to do the things that you really love to do instead of constantly focusing on trying to get yourself to do the things that you don't want to do. And so I think it's really my mission and why I put Live Well ADHD and these other programs together, because I've seen how powerful they can work for you. And John asked, where am I located? I'm in Pennsylvania near Philadelphia. We have eight coaches on our team at Dixon Life Coaching, and we're located all over the country, and we serve clients all over the world. Our coaching practice is 100% virtual, so I meet with clients over Zoom. But thank you for that question. Any tips for working mothers with ADHD, with kids who are likely to have ADHD? Yes, contact impact parents. Here's the thing. As a parent with ADHD, you want to put some of these things in place for yourself, right? So that your life becomes a little easier. You're gaining more energy. You are calmer in the presence of stress. And also some things that are parenting related. So Dixon Life Coaching, we don't do a lot of parenting stuff. We can help you with your stuff as the parent, but Impact Parents, our friends Elaine Taylor-Klaus and Diane Dempster run that, and they do amazing work with parents who have parenting, or they're trying to impact, they have kids who have complex issues. And Melanie just put that link in the chat. So thank you, Melanie, for that. I'm going to scroll back up here. Good question. Do you recommend starting with one-on-one coaching if they're not a lawyer or a professor? I think it depends. So one of the things that you can find on our website are links to schedule free 25-minute consultation calls with the appropriate coach. So you click on that schedule a time that says let's talk, or schedule a time with us or something, and it will take you to our Calendly link, and that will route you to the appropriate person that you want to be talking to on our team about different programs. But to answer this question specifically, I think if I were just starting, if I'm newly diagnosed and I'm trying to figure out, I want a new perspective on having ADHD, and I want to learn about how to sort of get my brain optimized most often. And I want to learn how to plan and design my day. And I want to get motivated more often. So these are foundational sort of they're not basic, they're fundamental foundational skills and language. Then Live Well ADHD is a good place to start. The groups, we have Performance Powerhouse, which I think would be an amazing opportunity for people who are in the audience here today, and I know there are a lot of you who are not lawyers and you're not professors, but are working in professions and have ADHD, that 3-month group will give you an enormous head start. Some of our clients do that plus one-on-one coaching, or they'll do that and then move on to one-on-one coaching. It really depends on what it is that you're looking for and what your situation is at the time, but feel free to schedule time to talk with us. Do we have any coaches in Texas? Yes, we do. But as Christine says, it really doesn't matter where we're located. We do not work in person. It's all virtual. Yes, I'm just looking for questions here, so stick with me as I'm scrolling. I often work from home and I find it very challenging to work at home. This is a big issue, and Kat suggested body doubling and online co-working, which I completely agree with her. Those are great strategies. We have some free article. We have articles and a how to work from home ebook somewhere on the website. Christine, you might be able to find that, but if not, email us at info@dixonlifecoaching.com and we can get you those resources. Do I recommend working in an isolated room or a place where you can be visible? Such a good question. And the answer is I recommend both depending on the client. And depending on the kind of work you're doing. So some of our clients work way more effectively and in a more focused way if they're got their noise canceling headset on and they're sort of in their little work bubble and there's no extraneous stuff coming in. At other times and for other types of work, they can work more effectively in a busy coffee shop or at the local library or in a co-working space. So it really it's worth some experimenting to see what kinds of things work for you. Yes, and JJ asked for a discount. We are going to follow up people who've registered for this event. We're going to follow up with an email with a discount code for everybody with all of the different different things. Oh, and also I want to go back to Clara. I appreciate your appreciation very much. And I wanted to mention also going back to what Kat said about body doubling and online co-working. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but one of all of our 3-month groups, you have the opportunity to co-work daily with everybody within the Dixon Life Coaching group universe. So we have a really active co-working on a daily basis that, is people just say that's it's such a powerful strategy. But you can also ask colleagues or friends or neighbors to co-work with you. It doesn't have to be in person physically. It can be online. So if you work at home, that's something that can also be really effective. Any other questions? Okay. We are bumping up against our time because I promised to keep this to half an hour. And we are about a minute and a half in that. So you will be getting a follow-up email with a discount code for programs if you're interested in that. And also links to some of the resources that we put in there. Please check out the articles on the site. And we have a lot of downloadables. You have to sign up for the downloadables, but everybody who signed up for this is already on the mailing list. So it's not going to sort of make a bunch of weird stuff come into your email inbox. So just one really quick thing, the difference between, and thank you, Susan, for that question, between Live Well and Focus Lawyer. So Live Well ADHD is a hybrid class. It's a course that will help you to be more effective living well with ADHD. It includes a 6-week online live group training. So you'll get on calls for 6 sessions with other people who are in there. It includes a really robust 6-module online class with 45 videos of me talking and showing things. You get a big old 160-page workbook. And this is where the 3 accountability calls per week. And I'm going to have to end this because I just lost my voice. So thank you all and have a great evening.